you to the first day of this new county championship season in the first division between Hampshire and Sussex. And the news is that Sussex have won the toss and they will be batting. And I think we're starting a moment or two before 10 o'clock. But Roger Hart will be taking over the commentary when the first ball is ready. We're not quite there, they're setting the field. And we shall be broadcasting to the hospitals on our closed circuit link. And we shall also be broadcasting online via our friends in the radio station in Hong Kong. And if you want to listen to us online, you can do that by looking on the Hampshire website and finding the links through cricket and live coverage. But Hampshire then, for the first ball in the first season back in Division 1, and it's going to be Roger Hart who is beginning our commentary.
Well, thank you, Ken. And Ken mentioned Hampshire setting the field. We have for James Tomlinson, left arm pace bowler from the northern end of the ground. He has 3 slips and a gully in place. Deepest point, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and the only man out on the boundary is that long leg. And so the first ball of the 2015 season. Hampshire back in the first division for the first time for a number of years. And I'm joined by Simon Vincent, sitting alongside me. Good morning, Simon.
Morning, Roger.
James Thompson, left arm over the wicket to the right-handed Nash, who lets that one go through. Wide of the off stump, taken by wicket-keeper Adam Wheater. Bright sunshine here today. Sun coming in from our right. You can see it from the shadows on the pitch. And the crowd just beginning to build up. One imagines quite a few people coming down from Sussex, as well as local supporters, a number walking around the ground finding seats. As Tomlinson is it again, bowls and Nash goes back, plays this one comfortably off his hip down towards Danny Briggs at mid-wicket, and there's no run. The Hampshire side, as expected, Jimmy Adams, Michael Carberry, Will Smith, James Vince, Liam Dawson, Adam Wheater, Sean Irvine, Gareth Berg making his debut for Hampshire, Chris Wood, Danny Briggs, and the bowler James Tomlinson. He turns at the end of his run, a shortish run, moving in now to Nash. Looks to drive there, a sort of push drive to mid-off, missed out, taken by Wheater. So one imagines there, Simon, a little bit of movement off the pitch.
Absolutely. What an exciting day to be here, eh? Beautiful blue skies, bright sunshine. Decent crowd for a championship match just at this particular point, like you say, building up a little bit. And white stumps for the first time that I've ever seen. White stumps.
Yes. As Tomlinson again to Nash. And that's gone through the slip region, off the thick edge, down towards the third man boundary, which is vacant. So 4 runs, Sean Irvine trotting after it. And whether that was a chance, it looked as though possibly James Vince, that second slip, went flying past his right hand. You've got better eyes than me, I suspect, Simon. What was your view?
Well, I need the glasses nowadays, but yeah. No, it looked, yeah, so we've got the wicketkeeper Adam Wheater. It looks like Sean Irvine at first slip, Dawson at second, and Vince at third. Slip. Yes. So, and yeah, it looked to me like it went between Dawson and Vince.
Yes. So, could have been a chance. Nash off the mark with those 4. Tomlinson in, and this is played into the onside. They're going to take a quick single wide of mid-on. And a bit of a sloppy throw there. And fortunately, Will Smith was alert to the fact that it was going to evade keeper Wheater. And that single brings Luke Wells on strike. Tallish man, much taller than his partner. Nash on to 5 in this first over. Luke Wells, whose father and uncle both played for Sussex.
Remember him having an excellent game against us here at the Ageas Bowl, 2 or 3 seasons ago. Must have scored at least a century, probably even more. Say 150 odd.
Quite highly rated young player.
Yeah, it's 100 against us in 2011, looks like.
So he settles. 4 slips in place, no gully. Tomlinson's in. He allows that one to go through the end of the over. So goodish over there from James Tomlinson. Might have picked up a wicket. Had that thick edge from Nash gone to hand. 5 without loss, Sussex.
I was doing some research on Chris Nash earlier on, just as we were preparing to go on air. And I don't know whether you're aware of this, but Chris Nash played his first game against Hampshire in 2002 and got himself out in that match by being bowled by the bowler was a certain Mr. Giles White, caught by Derek Kenway.
Giles White wasn't a regular bowler because he's now regular on this ground as a team manager.
That was when Nash was playing for Loughborough University Centre of Cricketing Excellence against Hampshire. It's come a long way since then.
Yes. He's just taking a few stretching exercises. He's taken guard. And it looks to be Sean Irvine opening the bowling, which is a rarity. He's in now, bowling wide of the off stump, fairly wide, I think. Wheater having to go a couple of yards to his right, takes it low down, and now Danny Briggs runs up, has a chat with Chris Wood, who might have taken the new ball, but Sean Irvine has been preferred.
And Sean Irvine, actually, interestingly enough, was the bowler that got Luke Wells out when he scored that 100 here at the Ageas Bowl back in 2011.
Irvine then over the wicket, moving up, bowls 2. Nash, who nudges that one away, backward of square on the offside, straight to the fielder there. Michael Carberry. Customary position for him. 3 slips in place. And again, the only man out deep is James Tomlinson on the long leg boundary. Yeah. Jimmy Adams has a chat with Sean Irvine.
Interesting to see how much Sean Irvine bowls this season.
He's in again, bowls. And this is driven through the onside into the gap, just wide of mid-on, take a single. The 2 men looking to save the single on the onside, but that neatly bisected them, but Danny Briggs and Chris Wood. Yeah, because interestingly about Sean Irvine, because he's sort of bowled less and less, hasn't he, as the seasons have gone on, and to the point where it felt like last season it feels like he barely bowled at all. Had a serious knee injury some years back, and that certainly has restricted his performance with the ball.
I noticed that on some scorecards for the warm-up matches, he's been batting below Adam Wheater, which is interesting because although he is obviously an all-rounder, I would always sort of expect him to be above Adam Wheater in the batting lineup.
He's in again, bowls, and Wells covers up, plays out on the onside, no run.
Which sort of implies that actually if he's batting below the wicketkeeper, that actually he may be thinking about bowling a little bit more this season, and particularly given that he's opened up the bowling from one end today. It's another promising sign, I would suggest, from Sean Irvine. Having to shield his eyes from the ball there as Chris Wood threw it back to him.
No great pace in this opening attack, which I suspect will be a contrast when Sussex come out to bowl against Hampshire. They've got 3 quite pacey characters there that Hampshire will have to contend with. That's outside the off stump. Taken no down, no run. Wells just scratches out his mark again. Settles. Quite a wide start. Who's in? Bowls 2. Wells this time driven into the offside, but straight to mid-off. Danny Briggs the fielder at the end of the over. So a tidy-ish over there from Sean Irvine. A couple of wide-ish deliveries, but we've got some information coming from Dave Allen about Sean Irvine.
So he did much better than I thought he had, actually. He got 19 wickets at 36. Best bowling figures of 22, 3 for 22. It's going to be an interesting season to see how Hampshire's attack fares this season. They obviously, we've mentioned there's no Andre Adams today. He's a little bit short of full fitness, and no Jackson Bird with a shoulder injury as Tomlinson runs in again.
Played out on the onside.
So it's going to be interesting to see how they cope, really. You know, without those two guys, they've obviously got Fidel Edwards coming later in the season. He's going to effectively take over from Jackson Bird as the overseas for the second half of the championship season, and of course Yasser Arafat for the limited over stuff as well. But to my mind, this is still a reasonably good bowling attack with Tomlinson, Wood, Briggs adding the spin option, a couple of good all-rounders in there.
Outside the off stump again there from Tomlinson. Chris Nash happy to let that one go through, no run. We have another prepared wicket. Just some 5-6 yards away from the one they're playing on, covered with a green matting.
How would you assess this pitch, Roger?
Well, so far it hasn't looked to have too many demons, although there was that edge in the first over, and that's goodish delivery there from Tomlinson. Nash beaten there, certainly. He then moves up the pitch, has prods at the ground where the ball pitched.
He's trying to prove you wrong, isn't he? He's just going over the same. Where's that demon come from?
Yeah, we can't really tell from here whether any movement is off the pitch or in the air.
It's a fair breeze, isn't it?
Just tend to swing it
over there.
a little bit. Yeah, Roy just mentioning about the breeze. This is down the leg side taken by Wheater, moving to his left, looking to the far end of the ground where there's some white sheeting. That breeze is quite strong, isn't it, Simon? Moving behind the sheeting, which is rippling every so often quite a bit.
Of course, for somebody like James Tomlinson, left armer, likes to swing the ball a little bit. You know, that'll all play into his hands, won't it?
Yes.
Interesting, of course, that Hampshire do have two left arm seamers after the World Cup, of course.
In comes Tomlinson Bowl, and that's played into the onside, just back of the square. Tony Briggs trotting in from long leg to collect a single taken. Nash moves on to 7 now. Luke Wells yet to trouble the scorers, but he hasn't faced as many deliveries as Chris Nash. He's tended to come to the striker's end at the end, towards the end of an over.
Yeah, so Wells has faced 4 deliveries so far, Nash 10.
In comes Tomlinson again, and wide of off stump. Wells happy to let that one go through, so the one ball he's faced in that over is wide of off stump, and no runs off the bat for him. 2 batsmen come together, punch gloves, and chat about things. We haven't mentioned the hotel, Simon. Looking much
how could we forget it?
This season than it has in previous times.
Absolutely. Well, it's there this season.
Yes.
Which is at the start. I remember when I first started at the Ageas Bowl back in 2010. It was supposed to be finished by then, in preparation for that season. But all sorts of things have got in the way there. So much too long and not interesting enough to go into. But it's there this season as Irvin comes in, bowls over the wicket.
I was looking towards mid-off there because he looked to be driving on the offside and the ball came down to mid-on. So perhaps a little bit of movement there for Sean Irvin.
But yeah, it looks, it looks pretty much there, doesn't it? 99% there. You can still see a bit of scaffolding in what will be the new media centre. But apart from that, it looks very good.
Irvin again is in, driven this time square on the offside. Michael Carberry leans down and picks up. No run.
My one thinking about looking at the at the hotel from that side. It's just that it's very, very white, isn't it?
It is.
And I know that sort of sounds a bit unusual because actually a lot of the rest of the ground is white nowadays. But just I just wonder whether a little bit of colour might have done something for it. I think it's Lancashire, isn't it, where they've got that big red press box. So it could be done.
This time Nash, at the last moment, takes his bat away. Irvin's hands go to his head, so I think that came back a shade. And perhaps was closer to the stumps than Nash anticipated.
Yeah, nice
Certainly
bit of...
Wheater didn't move, did he?
No. Nice bit of blue on that media centre. I think we're just a bit of Royal Hampshire blue. Very smart.
Irvin is in again. Nash driving down towards mid-off, no run.
Yeah, so just to finish that thought earlier, I mean, the Cricket World Cup, the 50-over format was notable for the number of left-arm seamers that had a lot of success in that competition. Trent Bowles, Mitchell Stark, Mitchell Johnson. And it's interesting that Hampshire actually have 2 left-arm seamers in their side already. And of course, the left-arm spin of Danny Briggs as well.
Danny Briggs, yeah. So that's outside off stump again, left alone by Nash, who remains on 7, and the total 7, and we're into the 4th over of the innings.
So a bit of breeze around the ground and some good conditions and things. You know, you'd like to hope that maybe those 2 guys would have some early season success.
Irvin in, Bowles. Once more outside off stump. Once again, Chris Nash allows it to go through to Wheater. The end of the over, the slip cordon and wicketkeeper trot down to the end, which is closer to us as we commentate from a sort of position of wide mid-on for the bowling at this end, and third man bowling from the far end.
What I don't think we have mentioned actually, Roger, is that of course Sussex did win the toss and chose to bat, which looks like a good choice. It's, you know, good conditions for batting today, bright and sunny, and looks to be good as well throughout the next 3 days as well. So you'd, if indeed an Ageas Bowl pitch will break up, which is not necessarily always the case, of course. You know, you'd think that might be the case by the 4th day with the sunshine that's around.
It's James Tomlinson to begin a new over, and that's again running through the slip region. It was sort of jabbing down on that.
It looked close, didn't it, from the reaction there? You had, is it Will Smith down there?
Yeah, I think it bounced just in front. So James Tomlinson, all the odd delivery that has troubled the batsman, but so far without any success in terms of gaining a wicket. 4 slips in place, crouch, as Tomlinson's in again. This time Wells happy to let that one go through, wide of off stump, taken by Adam Wheater. Who's now cemented his place as the wicket-keeper batsman in this Hampshire side. Batting down at number 6 on the card as Tomlinson's in again. Nick Wells slightly hurried into a push shot down to mid-on. That found the centre of the bat. Clouds moving quite swiftly across the ground. We can see from the shadows moving. Breeze coming from behind us, going towards the scoreboard on the far side of the ground. In comes Tomlinson again. Well, still not off the mark, letting that one go through, sort of flourish of the bat as he whipped it away from any danger.
Got one Hampshire player down having a bit of a stretch, haven't we, over on that far side, of sort of mid-on.
I think it's probably Chris Wood, isn't it?
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yes.
I fully expect him to open, but it's not, is it?
Gareth Berg, I think.
It is.
In comes Tomlinson. That's Paul. Almost up into the block hole, and Annabelle just comes down on it without any great aggression, pushes it down to Jimmy Adams, a bit off, no run.
It'll be interesting to see how Gareth Berg does this season, won't it? He started the first match of last season and then got himself an injury and didn't play for the whole of the rest of the season. And as I understand, it's sort of only just about been getting back to full fitness recently.
And that's another good delivery there from Tomlinson, and the ball just trickling up towards mid-on for the end of the over, and that was a maiden over.
Was. Yes, and you know, so the signing of Gareth Berg, like I say, it's an interesting one. Has the nickname Ice. I don't know whether that's because he's a cool character or just because it fits with his name. I don't know. He's not going to bowl this over as it happens. It's going to continue with Sean Irvine from the pavilion end. But yeah, it's always difficult, isn't it, to talk about a player when he's been out for so long and sort of assess what his chances may be, because of course, no matter what he did previous to that, a whole season out and on the physio's table means that you can't ever be sure how he will have recovered from that injury, whether he'll ever be back to, particularly with a quicker bowler, because he's so much of it is about how his body feels.
Well, it's Sean Irvine to begin a new over from the pavilion end. First delivery just slightly short of a length. Chris Nash goes back and across and plays it out towards mid-wicket, where Danny Briggs picks up no run. So fairly sedate opening. Just the 4 runs off edge from Chris Nash. Apart from that, just 3 singles in the opening 4 overs. As Irvine's in again, and Nash looking to drive this time will pick up possibly a single. No, it's a good piece of fielding there from Chris Wood, moving sharply to his left. Got down well for a tall man, picked up, and quite sensibly the batsman don't attempt a single at this stage in the innings.
So that's 2 maidens in a row we've had before this over. Only one off the over before that.
It's a bit like a school match, Dave.
In comes
It's a bit like
Irvine.
a school match.
And that's a straightest delivery. Matt Nash is pushed onto the back foot. The ball coming back down the wicket. Sean Irvine getting a hand onto it, and there's no run. 3 slips still in place for Nash. No gully now. Man at point. Backward point.
Sean Irvine, of course, watching his brother in the World Cup as well.
He's in, and that's cut away. Michael Carberry able to get to it. As Michael Carberry's hurt his hand there. It was a difficult one. It bounced in front of him, bounced up. He got his hands to the ball, and I suspect it's one of those horrible things where it hits on inside of the wrist, which can be very painful. Michael Carberry.
Yeah, he's certainly not the sort of guy who goes down easily, is he,
No.
Cubs?
No. Remember, he hurt his hand in a similar way last season. Missed a couple of games.
Still feeling it though, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Then comes Irvine again, and it's a straighter delivery, which is pushed forward by Nash, and Michael Carberry continues to rub his hand, his wrist possibly. Yes, in some trouble there. He's down on his haunches again.
In fact, he looks like he's feeling it so much that you'd wonder whether that was a finger or something like that. They're very, very costly.
Hasn't called for the physio yet. As Irvine is in, bowls to Nash and driven into the offside. Well stopped there at cover. The end of the over, another good over there for Hampshire.
And the maiden.
And a maiden.
Yeah, just looking over to the side here to see whether we can see a physio coming on. It doesn't look like there's a physio, but it looks like the 12th man is coming on, which I presume would be Brad Wheel, who, of course, is the young lad who's missed out today. He's an exciting young prospect, got brought over on an EU passport, but brought over from South Africa. He's just walking along the boundary edge now. No need
Well,
for the
Michael
physio.
Carberry still out there, but still unhappy, I think, looking at his hand. It's his left hand, by the look of it. In comes Tomlinson to get a new over. Oh, and that's a good delivery. So Wells, who's been out there for some time into the 7th over of the innings, really didn't get his feet right there, I don't think, Simon. He sort of pushed the bat, but didn't move his front foot forward, and the stumps are disrupted.
Indeed, and that's looks like a 12-ball duck, I think, is it, for Wells?
So having done so well a few years ago on this ground, Luke Wells trudges back to the dressing room. But it wasn't really a very good-looking stroke. No movement, real movement of the feet.
But then, Tomlinson's been looking threatening all day, hasn't he? He's got to be 6 overs in, so he must have had 3 of his own. And you'd be lying if you said it hadn't been coming. He's got the ball to move a little bit.
He deserved that. Most reliable bowler, James Tomlinson.
Would be lovely to be behind the bowler's arm here, wouldn't it? It's one of these things. I know when you go to a ground like Trent Bridge or somewhere like that, that's got a fantastic reputation as the ball hooping round corners and all sorts of things. And sometimes I wonder whether it has that reputation because of the fantastic position of the wicket, of the media box, so it gets seen and reported a bit more. It'd be lovely today, and of course it will be the case once the media are over at the in the new hotel in the new press facilities over there. It'd be lovely to see exactly how he's getting the movement at the moment, whether it is off the deck or in the air. Lovely bowling from Tomlinson. Excellent start for him.
Well, 12th man is moving off the field. He's been on with drinks. That will have pleased Ralph Coney had he been here. Drinks after 20 minutes. And we have another left-hander to replace Luke Wells. It's Mike Yardy coming in at number 3. Has captained the side, but not captain. Now Ed Joyce is the Sussex captain. He will come in next. And for Mike Yardy, we continue with 4 slips and no gully, although Michael Carver is fairly close at deepest point, and that's played down towards mid-on. And plays with a rather crab-like movement, Mike Yardy. Still 7 runs on the ball, but now 7 for 1. So Hampshire will be pleased so far. Bowling's been steady, no great pace, as I said, but certainly it's been steady. And the Sussex openers have not got away quickly. In comes Tomlinson again, this time pushed out towards mid-wicket, and there's no run.
All the Sussex batsmen have scored runs in pre-season. They've played Leeds and Bradford University in their pre-season, and they've also played Surrey, as Hampshire did. And all of their batsmen have scored decent amounts of runs. They've all scored at least a 50. I think Mike Yardy scored. I think it was an 80 odd against Loughborough.
Yes, and the Hampshire batting lineup has also done fairly well in the pre-season friendlies. Tomlinson in the game bowls to Nick Yardy. This time he's going to get a single there as he pushes into the offside, finds the gap between point and mid-off. Just a single though. Total moves on to 8 in this 7th over.
Just looking through his list of games against Hampshire in recent seasons, hasn't scored an awful lot against us in the last few years. His last score of any real note was a 92 not out in a team score of 219 for 9. That was in 2009 against Hampshire.
Just coming up to the end of the first half hour of this game, and Dave Allen will come into the commentary area. Shaking hands there between Michael Carberry and the umpire at this end.
I think Dave's replacing me. I think
Alex Wolf. In comes Tomlinson to Nash, who drives into the offside. There'll be runs here, probably 2. They're going to come back with that second run. Nicely placed all the way along the ground, all just slightly over pitch from Tomlinson. And Nash moves on to 9, the total into double figures. big gap there on the offside. Michael Carberry's just backward of square, some yard away from the umpire, and the nearest fielder is Jimmy Adams a bit off. As that's down through the onside this time. Nicely timed out towards the deep mid-wicket boundary. Chase there for Will Smith, who just falls to the ground, picks up, throws in, another 2 runs taken. And so a flurry of runs there in that over, having been fairly sedate so far. So that's a first half an hour completed. Dave Allen will come into the position alongside me.
Hiya, Roger, and good morning and good new season to everybody. I'm just going to stick earplugs in my ears.
Simon, am I still on?
Sean Irving to start the next over, the 8th. Can't remember the last time I saw Sean Irving open the bowling for Hampshire. It's not something he's done very often. Bowls to Yardy, who pulls that ball round 2 square for the man at fine leg to get round and stop it, and that's the second 4 of the morning. So a sudden flurry of runs since that wicket fell in the last over, at which point it was 7 for 1. It's now 16 for 1, and Michael Yardy's gone on to 5. Here's a quiz question for you, Roger.
Go on.
And it's to do with this ground. What do Jimmy Adams and Michael Yardy have in common? Sean Irving in bowls and Yardy just shoulders arms. Lets that through to the keeper, Wheater.
Well, it's clearly not just the fact that they are left-handed batsmen.
No, it's to do with this ground, though. They are.
This
You're
ground.
quite right. Yeah.
No, I can't think of anything.
No, it's not one that would instantly drop into anybody's mind. I'm sure that they are the only 2 men in this match who played the first ever match at what was then known as the Rose Bowl. As Irving bowls, and it beats Yardy with a crabby shot by Yardy, which he rehearses, and it looks equally crabby when he rehearses it, to be honest. It's a sort of standing start forward defensive. He doesn't actually come forward. He sticks his bum out a bit like Henry Horton used to do before the bowler bowled. But he's doing it as he's playing the shot. Very inelegant.
Very.
And
Bowls like a crab as well, doesn't he?
yeah, yes. Irving will be heartened by that. He comes in again and bowls to Yardy. Yardy's on the move as Irving bowls, but Yardy pushes it out into the covers and scampers a single. Wood picks up, throws at the stumps, doesn't hit them. Very visible, the stumps. I guess you may well have commented on that already this morning, but they're as bright as the cricketers' shirts and trousers. Bright white. Can't say I've ever seen white stumps before, but there must be some reason for it. Irving back on his mark, coming in from the pavilion end. Past the umpire bowls, and Chris Nash. He just gives Nash some room there to cut outside the off stump, backward of square, but straight to Carberry, whose temporary ailment with a thumb or finger seems to have gone off, although he's got his hands in his pockets, which suggests he might have warmers in there. I don't know. There's a cold wind today, beautiful sunshine, blue sky, hardly a cloud of any sort to be seen, but there is a cold wind. 17 for 1 in the 8th over, and Irving is in and bowls, and this time Nash is defensive. The man at third slip is excited for a moment there, thinking it might have got through the defences, but it didn't.
What was your view of the 4 runs in the first over? Whether that was it a dropped catch, a chance?
Well, I'm sorry to say, Roger, that at that precise moment I was walking behind the sight screen back up here and didn't see it. There were 1 or 2 oohs and ahs, gasps, whatever, not quite sure. And maybe, I guess we will find out, but I'm I'm sorry to say, it's just about. I missed 2 balls. What I did was to go walk around to the far side of the pavilion just to get a shot of the first ball of the season to stick on my blog later, and therefore missed stuff at the start of the season. In that first over, Tomlinson is bowling, and again, he's got a way of playing that defensive shot, Yardy, because he takes a step back and across, that classic kind of thing, and then when he's pushing forward, he does so from a fairly low trajectory with a significantly bent bat, but perfectly safe, and it's his way of playing. So he's okay. 3 slips and a gully. Wicketkeeper Carberry in his familiar position at the sort of backward point, saving 1. Square leg, long leg, mid on. And just as I was about to describe that ball, had the alarming experience of my face appearing on the computer screen in front of me. But fortunately, nothing very significant happened, and the ball was just played back, and Jimmy Adams, the captain at mid-off, is handing it to James Tomlinson. The 1 or 2 men limbering up as if they might have a bowl soon. Danny Briggs is one of them. I'd be surprised if Danny Briggs comes on very soon. Tomlinson bowls, and that's sort of half through the forward prod of Yardy. It's an outside edge. It runs down to Carberry. There's no run. I think Briggs will be delighted to be included in the team in April, and hope that he'll get a long and successful bowl.
Gives Hampshire 2 spinners in the side, 3 with Smith.
3 with Smith, yeah.
Surprising success last season.
Yeah.
That was a bonus, really. Came for his batting, but he certainly contributed much with the ball as well.
Tomlinson in. That's straight through a drive, and Tomlinson looks a little disappointed there that he didn't get Yardy. Yardy 6 not out, not looking entirely comfortable at the moment, and the ball goes through the Wheater for no run. I would have thought that when these 2 take a rest, that we will see either Berg or Wood next. Probably Berg to replace Irvine, like for like, right arm, medium fast, and Wood to replace Tomlinson, like for like, left arm pace. Tomlinson again. This time Yardy lets it through to Wheater. He's content just to leave it alone. The pitch has less greenness about it than some that we saw last season, although the carry seems decent enough at the moment.
Yes. Well, that one seemed to be a slightly quicker delivery.
Yeah.
Wheater had to move quite quickly for it. He looks, as he runs up, James Tomlinson, a fairly short and steady run, and then the ball doing quite a bit, I think, this morning for him. Could easily have taken a 2nd wicket.
Could have done. Yardy there just plays that to mid-off and there's no run. I wonder myself whether he's just slightly shortened his run-up this year. He's got a history of difficulties with ankles and knees and so on, although he's generally very fit. But I know he goes through some pain in some of his bowling. I wonder if he's just cut his run up without necessarily losing pace, and certainly without losing control and movement. And I suggested that if Irvine came off, Berg would replace him fairly much like for like, as far as one can tell. I haven't seen a lot of Berg yet. And that's exactly what's happening. Berg is coming on for his first bowl in a championship match for Hampshire from the pavilion end, right arm, medium pace. You're not quite as big as Irvine, not quite as big built as Irvine either. But Irvine, decent opening spell there.
He looks about the same height and width as Paul Collingwood.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Similar sort of figure.
I saw him bat last week against Kent. I didn't see him bowl, but I saw him bat last week against Kent. He batted very nicely. He looked strong on the offside, cover drives and mid-off and so on. And in he comes now. for his first ball, and he's bowled in first ball, a wicket with his first ball for Hampshire. And I'm not sure who the last man to do that was, but I think it could well have been John Ayling. And so Chris Nash, bowled Berg 11, and whether that just, I don't know whether that just had a bit of pace. It did that, yeah. But whether it was also just a bit quick, I don't know. And Hampshire will be absolutely delighted with this start. We're 40 minutes into the first day of the season, and Sussex are 17 for 2, with both openers gone.
We've sat here in previous seasons and said, bowled wide of the off stump, bowled wide of the off stump. If you bowl straight, you might get a wicket.
Especially first morning of the season, when batsmen are not quite in rhythm. And that, I mean, it is quite wonderful to think, actually, that what we've seen is... And the other thing, Roger, you asked me, was it a drop catch? Well, I'm not sure because, as I said, I didn't see it, don't know the answer to that. But if it was or not, it hasn't had very much of an impact because both openers have gone. 17 for 2 in the 10th over. And Berg was clearly absolutely elated with that. He pirouetted and gave the kind of gestures of the pavilion that you'd see nowadays at St Mary's when... Southampton footballer scores. I can't say it happens at Fratton Park because Pompey don't score very often, but I'm sorry to say. But
Southampton haven't of late.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Too many.
He did look absolutely elated. Well, I'm sure he is as well.
Of course, as Simon was saying, or perhaps you were saying, a season out is always, for any sportsman, a bit of a psychological blow, isn't it? Yeah. And to come back and as you say, get a wicket with his first delivery, that must put all those months of misery and pain straight out of his mind. He's back in the flow of things. I think there are some, as a historian, I keep thinking of intriguing parallels with 1973 at the moment, one of which is actually 61, the two occasions on which Hampshire have secured a championship title. In both sides, they had two slow left-arm bowlers, as they have today. Here comes Berg, and he bowls, and that's just outside the off-stump. That's left alone by the new batsman, Ed Joyce. And on both occasions, they had a recent signing from Middlesex, not quite as recent as Berg, but in 61, Dennis Baldry, and in 73, Bob Herman had come down. The other thing is that Berg is, as a cricketer, interestingly similar to a man that we signed in 1973, and that's Mike Taylor. Similar kind of right arm medium fast, and probably not a lot quicker than that. That ball's just hit back to Berg, who stops it with his foot, and Jimmy Adams picks it up. You know, and a useful bat at 7 or 8. You know, similar. So I keep finding all these parallels that enthuse me and make me believe that we've every reason to be optimistic this season. Here's Berg again. Bright orange shoes past bright white stumps. And that's just played gently out to the city mid-off position. Jimmy Adams runs in the fields. So the two left-arm spinners would have been Peter Sainsbury on each occasion. On each occasion. Alan Wassell. Alan Wassell. And O'Sullivan. David O'Sullivan. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, and in both cases they were pretty important bowlers. The other two slow left armers in both cases came into their own second half of the season. Berg bowls, and that's driven quite nicely backward of square. Carberry's after it. They'll probably come back for 3. Oh, actually, it may well. Oh no, it hasn't gone back. He's flicked it back, and the tidying up has been done by Will Smith, and Ed Joyce, as a consequence, has 3 runs, and Berg is to bowl to Yardy, and I think he's gonna bowl round the wicket. Oh, I don't know. The umpire, I think, is just saying to him, you need to be a bit careful here. You're running on the wicket. It looks to me as if he wants to bowl round the wicket, but Ed Joyce is in the normal position, so it isn't. It's right arm over still. And Michael Yardy just lets that through, and Wheater picks up and no run. So at the end of the over then,
there will be applause, and from a pretty good crowd, actually, Roger.
Yes,
I mean,
growing.
you'd expect it on a sunny first day of the season. It's not bad, is it?
Particularly with Sussex being the opposition.
Yeah.
Nearest county to Hampshire, to the east. David O'Sullivan was unfortunate, wasn't he? Because Andy Roberts came into the side, and in those days it was one overseas player only.
Yeah, well, it
Or
was
it two, and they
well,
only had one.
it was odd, wasn't
Yes.
it? It was kind of one overseas player. They had Richards. They were allowed to sign a second one, but they had to choose between O'Sullivan and Roberts.
Yes.
And they, I mean, to be fair, they probably made the right choice. Although the irony is that Roberts, despite, I mean, in that first season, particularly 74, being quite astonishing, never actually played in a championship winning side. Tomlinson to resume from the hotel end. Any bowls, and Joyce on 3 not out is defensively back. Joyce in terrific form, had a wonderful season last season, scored well over 1,000 runs. Interesting actually that Sussex have made this dodgy start, because last year, I think it was September, before either of those two openers, Wells and the other man whose name's complete, Nash, thank you, Tomlinson bowls, and again that's just defensively played back. I think it was September before either of them got a century, and they struggled a bit last year despite being a pretty well established opening pair. The last time Wells was here, my memory is the last time Wells was here, he made 100.
Yes.
It was a dull draw, and I remember sitting with Terry Crump at the far end on a Saturday morning with no prospect of anything happening as Wells went towards his 100, and we counted fewer than 50 people in the ground. That's short, and Tomlinson feels slightly hard done by there. He induced Joyce to hook at that, and Joyce didn't get a touch. It goes through the Wheater, and I think Tomlinson thought he was very close to a top edge. Had he got a top edge, it might well have flown over Wheater and gone off to the boundary, but it didn't. I did mention the hotel end, which is, I guess, what we must call it these days, particularly where we're sitting, because we can't see anything else. Well, we can see the hills out towards Winchester, but not back the other way towards Hambledon. It's Tomlinson bowls, and that's just played defensively by Joyce out on the offside. No run, 20 for 2. The hotel is almost finished now, very close to being finished, and it does now visually make lots of sense to me. It looks really good. It's sparkling white, as are the stumps, and in that kind of semi-curved way, it accentuates the feeling of the bowl at the northern end. That's a defensive shot by Joyce, but it's one of those shots where the man plays the line and allows the ball to go outside the bat and through the Wheater. No run.
It's interesting how cricket grounds change. I went to Bristol last season, and the flats at the far end look superb.
I've seen them on the telly. I've not actually been since they've changed it. I think some of the grounds work better than others. I'm not sure myself about the huge things they've stuck at Headingley and Old Trafford, but Tomlinson bowls, that's nicely clipped off his legs by Joyce through square leg. Danny Briggs chasing, and in the old-fashioned way, he simply catches up with the ball, bends down and picks it up. No sliding and rolling for him. 2 runs is the result. The end of the over, 22 for 2. Joyce 5, Yardie 6.
Yes, I don't think Hove has changed much over the years. My first taste of first-class cricket was at Hove.
Yeah.
Watching David Shepherd.
Ah, yeah.
In the first game I saw. Typically it rained. The last day of the match was rained off with David Shepherd and Hubert Doggett.
Yeah.
Not out.
Yeah. So that was early mid-50s, Roger.
It was 1954.
Right. I think the previous season was the one that Shepherd captained them and they finished second?
Second,
yeah.
Yes.
Which at the time was their best ever, wasn't it? They'd never won the champ. Well, they didn't win it until the 21st century. Berger is to bowl, and he's through it, and he's got him. He's got him again. First ball of the first over, first ball of the second over, and he's taken the outside edge. And I'm going to have to get to my bag well, it's 10 to 12, so we're okay yet. But I'm going to have to get to my bag at 12 o'clock and get out my folder of remarkable things that have happened in the history of Hampshire cricket and start telling people best bowling on first class debut or county championship debut for Hampshire. I suppose it's not first class debut, actually. That's a bit of a shame, because he's already played against Loughborough. But
Liam Botham's was pretty good.
yeah, Liam Botham's is one of them. Darren Flint in recent years was another one. He had a fifer. Botham had a fifer.
Cardigan Carr.
The best, yeah, I think Cardi's was only a fourfer. The best bowling on first class debut for Hampshire is shared by Imran Tahir and Shane Bond, who both got sevenfers. I should just make sure that you're absolutely clear about what's happened there, because I'm getting too excited about history. It's 22 for 3. Yardy caught Wheater, bowled Berg. And it was a tumbling catch away to his left by Wheater. And once again, I would just say about Wheater that he doesn't do much wrong as a keeper. A lot of people are, in a sense, understandably dismayed that Michael Bates was let go at the end of last season, because he's a terrific keeper. But one of the things about Wheater is that he doesn't do much wrong, and he didn't do much wrong there, and didn't do anything wrong there. And Berg now has, I think, 2 for 3 or 2 for 2. I can probably
There were 3 runs off 1 delivery.
2 for 3. Yeah, 2 for 3.
This is unexpected, because without Bird and Adams, one might have been thinking, and Sean Irvin taking the new ball, that it was a bit like the time I saw Gray and Baldry open the bowling at Portsmouth for Hampshire.
Yes, yes, I can remember that. Yes, there have been 1 or 2 occasions like that. There was a
couple of trundlers.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, Gareth Berg it is again. And he bowls short, and Kochopa is the new batsman, and he just ducks underneath it. I have to confess that when I heard that Sussex had won the toss and batted, I suggested that Hampshire would be hoping to bat long in the first innings and secure a high points scoring draw, you know, with Sussex batting probably till the middle of tomorrow afternoon. At the moment, it doesn't look quite like that. It's outside your stump. It goes through to Wheater, no stroke offered. Again, good bounce and carry. I don't think we're seeing demons in this pitch, are we? The one that got Nash kept a bit low, but I don't think there are demons in the pitch. It just may be that the batsmen are a bit rusty, and that actually the decision by Sussex to bat first didn't quite suit on the first morning of the season. Here's Berg again. And that's played securely and defensively by Kochopa.
You should say, although it's not yet on the scoreboard, Hampshire have a bonus point. Their first of the season.
They do. Actually, I think it is on the scoreboard. I just think there's a railing.
Ah, right. Yes.
It's sort of above the Ageas thing, and
yes.
It's just in the way.
Yes, I can see it now.
But we do have a bonus point. I wonder if we're the first team in the country to have a bonus point. I know that Yorkshire had taken 2 Worcester wickets, but that's played up to mid-off and there's no run. And let's have a look here. Oh, I've got an interesting scoreboard here from live cricket. It's gone backwards, my iPad. At one point it showed Worcestershire 15 for 2. It now shows them 7 for 1. So I don't know what to say there. Sussex 22 for 3, Notts 33 for 0, Worcester 11 for 2, Somerset 33 for 1. Hampshire are the first team. They are actually at this precise moment top of the county championship table. Berg bowls, and that's played defensively by Kochopa. And there's no run. 22 for 3, and we're top of the table. That's not bad, is it? Actually, I'm just looking at the Division 2, and it's the same there. Northants 56 for 0, Glamorgan 45 for 1. Yep, we are the only team in the country with a point at 11.55. How wonderful.
We have a change of bowling, I think.
It'll be Chris Wood. So they are doing what I suggested, which is left arm pace at the top end, the hotel end, and right arm pace at this end. And I'm looking forward to seeing Chris Wood bowl. I don't know how fit he is. He had a pretty difficult season with injury last season, operations and the like. But in the last month, from Canterbury onwards, he suddenly looked a better championship bowler than he ever looked before. And he races in now, I mean, noticeably faster than Tomlinson, although the umpire is already going to walk across and say, watch where that foot's going. Maybe he's just warning him about a no ball, actually. I don't think it was so much running on. It was, which is a good thing when umpires do that, isn't it? Just watch out something. The ball went wide of the off stump, incidentally, and Joyce left it alone. Joyce on 5, 22 for 3, and Wood bowls and Joyce just plays defensively. There's no run.
Now the umpire's coming across to having a word with his counterpart. Which one is Alex Wolf?
The taller.
Which is the one at square leg now.
Yeah.
It's Evans at.
And is it the red-haired Welsh Evans?
It's not.
It's not, is it? Not because he's Jeff Evans, isn't he? This is R Evans, who I don't know. That's outside the off stump, and that's clearly moved a bit outside the off stump. And Wheatley's diving away in front of second slip.
Yeah, Jeff Evans is shorter.
Yes, yes. So I don't know about Mr. R Evans. It doesn't ring a bell as a former county cricketer. So. Wood in again. Bowls. Joyce pushes it onto the offside. Jimmy Adams hurls himself round to cover and flings it at the stumps. But to be honest, it was a couple of yards wide there. It was a scampered single, but quite safe. And they go on to 23 for 3.
Well, Sussex have Luke Wright to come in. Who always does well against Hampshire, it seems.
Yeah, got a terrific 100, didn't he?
Ben Brown, and then it's into the 4 bowlers.
So Kachopa looks round. He's a right-handed batsman. There's been quite a lot of left-handers this morning, but he's a right-hander, and that's swung similarly to the ball that Joyce left alone, but this time, because he's a right-hander, it's swinging away down leg side. And
another good piece of work by Adam Wheater.
Yeah. Chris Wood bowling to 3 slips and a gully, despite the fact that to the right-hander he seems to be swinging the ball in at the minute. There's a mid-wicket, long leg and a mid-on the onside, so maybe he's doing the other thing as well. That's just... I think, did that hit pad? I
think it was a bit of bat.
Bit of bat and a bit of pad, but there was no appeal anyway. But so that's the end of Wood's first over, and he certainly ran in pretty lively fashion. But he's having a little conversation with Mr. Evans about something which is probably to do with follow through, run up or whatever. Let's hope it doesn't get as serious as Imran Tahir. 23 for 3. And Simon Donohoe is poised on my left shoulder, but I think, got time for one more over. I think my watch is a little fast anyway, so I can go on describing Hampshire top of the table for another over as Berg runs past umpire Wolf. And that ball, he's not bowling at a furious pace, but that ball is through the defensive shot of Joyce. Although, again, I think Joyce is playing line and allowing it to go past him. Just playing cautiously. He's got to play a captain's innings for Sussex now. He's got to dig in and rescue this first innings of the season for them. Bergin again bowls, and Joyce out defensively. Jimmy Adams will have enjoyed his first hour as a captain in the First Division. Everything going to plan, despite what, in fairness, one has to describe as a somewhat depleted attack. Berg back at the end of his run. turns round, comes in and bowls, and that's just pushed onto the onside, but Chris Wood at mid-on fields it easily enough. It's the 14th over as we come up to the end of the first hour.
There's 3 seam bowlers no longer with Hampshire, and Matt Coles, Kyle Abbott and David Bolcombe.
Yeah. Yes, I wonder whether Bolcombe's in the Surrey side. I've got a suspicion he won't be, but... And again, just a sort of flick there by Joyce, pushing it. He plays a sort of classic standing up defensive shot, but then at the last minute just flicks the ball out on the onside, but goes straight to a fielder again, so no run. Remains 23 for 3, and without any question, the first hour of the season 2015 has belonged very much to Hampshire. Berg bowls, and it's just somewhat tentatively played out on the offside, and I think Berg just gestures there that he's a little disappointed that the ball did a bit and just got an edge or edgish bit of Joyce's bat, and with a bit more luck might have got a slightly thinner edge and carried through to one of the close fielders. 3 slips and a gully, and Carberry at point. Similar-ish shot, rather more middle of the bat. End of the over, end of the 14th over. Berg bowling very well indeed. It's 23 for 3, and 2 men poised over our shoulders now to take over. Simon and John will be in.
You are, gents.
Thank you, Dave. Greetings and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As Dave has said, first hour most definitely Hampshire's on this their return or their appearance in the Premier Division, the First Division. On my right has joined me JT, John Townsend. Welcome, John. Greetings, John.
Thanks, Simon.
Did you winter well?
I can't complain too much.
Good man. Well, we've got Chris Wood to continue from the hotel, the new hotel. Big appeal there. Evans, the umpire at the hotel end, the northern end, declines. So good start by Hampshire, John.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is exceeded anything they could have hoped for, Simon, to have Sussex 23 for 3 at this stage. Having lost the toss, you know, I don't think they'd have imagined this would be the case.
Indeed, as Chris Wood comes in past umpire Evans and is played out on the onside by Kachopra, and they cross for a single, gets him off the mark, and takes him to 1, although it hasn't moved yet. I'm assuming I got that right, did I? Yeah. It's Joyce down at this end, who's not out 6. The Sussex score 24 for 3. And there are a few people, not least of all Wood, who's setting off on his run now. Comes in past umpire Evans, left arm over. And that ball is straight through to the keeper.
I think the last run must have been a leg by, Simon, because
They didn't give him the 1.
they've still got him on naught.
Yeah, good spot. Thank you. I thought they were just slow and new.
But the total's gone up by 1, hasn't it?
Yeah. 24 for 3. Got Roy Martin on our left. Roy, who looks in good nick. Squinting away, trying to find where the wicket is. A glorious sunny day here. That ball has been pushed out onto the covers, and that was, I say pushed rather than smoked, and has gone through for a 4. Takes Joyce up to 10. I was going to comment about Wood's footwear, John, and there's a few people in orange, come Nike, come whoever trainers scattered around the ground. The keeper, there must have been a job lot gone there, being delivered to Hampshire. Wood comes in, left arm over, and there's another appeal there. Wood certainly making the batsman hurry
Yeah, that wasn't a serious appeal, I don't think, though, Simon, unlike the previous one.
I'm not sure that was serious either, John, but
Well, I
I
think
know what you mean.
They probably pitched 2 near-leg stump to give the previous one. But yeah, just going to say about these orange boots, I'll come back on that one.
Right, as Wood stops in his run-up, I think basically because Joyce had wasn't quite settled or wasn't quite ready. Go, John.
Yeah, Pompey this season have had a centre forward called Ryan Taylor, who's a Yorkshireman, wears up bright orange boots and has also got bright orange hair, so it doesn't clash.
Wood, oh, that ball is put sweetly away through extra cover by Joyce. That will reach the boundary. Yeah, just crosses the boundary now. Take him up to 14, and the Sussex score to 32 for 3. Glorious day here at the Ageas Bowl. Glorious day. A little bit of a fresh breeze. John and I have sat outside, not directly in the sun, but a very pleasant day. Quite a good crowd for this first opening game of Hampshire's appearance in the First Division. Still people working in the background on the hotel, which I think is due to open, John, the next week or two.
Yeah, we were talking about good bats, Simon, while we were outside, and that last shot, Wood bowled a half volley, but Joyce just put his bat to where the ball was going to be, and it just hit the middle and sped away, didn't it, through extra cover? There was no flourish or anything. It was just timing.
It's the Golden Berg at the moment, who's into Kachopra, and he plays at that, and I think the ball hit the bat there rather than the batsman striking the ball. It goes to Gully. Yeah, having said that, John, the discussion we were having in terms of we'd have loved the opportunity to see, and I'm going back 20, 30, 40 years in terms of playing cricket, what it would have been like to use one of these new bats. And the occasion when you timed it, even my day, you could see it go. That one is back to Berg on his follow through by Kachopra. The Sussex score 32 for 3. Berg took a wicket with his first ball from Middlesex to Hampshire. So a great start for him, and then followed it up in the second over with another wicket, which is a good catch by the keeper. So here he comes again in. It's a short pitched, and Kachopra ducks underneath. So Kachopra still to get off the mark.
Yes, he doesn't have to move much to duck under a short ball, Kachopra, does he? He's not the tallest of men.
No, we'll have to. I'm not sure if the new book is out yet. Is it in terms of Playfair? Not Playfair.
Yeah, Playfair.
It's there. Oh, it is out. It is out. We'll go and do our first look of the season, John, and see.
It is this. That's last season. Oh, sorry.
Roy Martin catching me out there with the 2014 edition, but I still think it might have had. I don't know if it would have had Kachopra.
Probably isn't out then, because I would have seen it.
Not only seen it, Roy, you'd have acquired it.
I would have acquired it.
You would have acquired it.
It's usually into the season.
Our master statistician, Roy Martin, as Berg comes in, right arm over. That's pushed down to the offside where it's picked up by Jimmy Adams, coming in from mid-off.
He seems to be bowling quite a good line at the moment, Simon. Everything's round about off stump, isn't it? And he's got 3 slips and a gully, so that's where he needs the bowl.
Being treated with respect, and having got a couple of early wickets, and Sussex needing to dig deep here, and wouldn't want to lose another wicket before lunch. As Berg comes in, right arm over, and that is pushed in front of Gully, and there's a couple of runs there as Michael Carberry, fresh from his big bash, and I don't think Michael Carberry got picked up in the IPL, did he? He would be.
No.
He wouldn't be. I guess he wouldn't be here because Hampshire obviously giving him the green light to apply. But had I don't know if you saw any of the Big Bash in terms of Australia
Yes, I did.
T20.
Yeah.
John, he did okay, although the crowd didn't warm to him straight away.
He took a while to get going, didn't he?
Yeah, but he did well for the Perth Scorchers.
That last shot there, Simon, for 2 by Kachopa, getting him off the mark, was a thick outside edge. He wasn't aiming where it went.
No, he most definitely wasn't.
He was aiming for
Back down the wicket.
extra cover,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So the score's moved up to 34 for 3 as Wood continues from the northern end, and that ball is straight through to the keeper. Score remains 32 for 3. Woods is what John and I are reckoning a group trainers, been a job lot provided by somebody, but Wood looking good. As Dave Allen mentioned previously, coming in apace, has had his problems with injuries in the past. Here he comes, left arm over, and he's pushed out onto the onside. Well, it'll be fielded. I'm not sure who that was.
It's Berg.
That is Berg.
I mean, you're talking about the boots with orange on, Simon. I reckon there's 4 of them out there: Wood, Berg, Wheater, and Dawson.
Yep. Yeah, I told you it was a job lot. Off the back of a lorry, John. Not saying whose lorry. It wasn't your lorry, was it?
Not Bill Lorry.
Oh, good one. And that one is well taken down to his left by the keeper in these orange trainers.
I reckon it moved a long way there. He
Yeah.
ended up diving.
He was in front of, Irvine at first slip, Dawson at second slip, and I guess it'll be Vince at third slip. As Wood turns, comes in, left arm over, past the umpire. It's a good length ball again, and that is once more straight through to our short keeper.
Yeah, Joyce is just keeping his bat inside the line, isn't he? He's not actually playing a leaving shot, as he's just doing what Trescothick does.
He's looking a bit more comfortable than Michael Yardy looked, John.
Yeah, it's difficult not to look more comfortable than Yardy did, I think.
That ball from Wood is down to Danny Briggs at fine leg, between fine and square, and he now moves across to third man. Score with that single moves up to 35 for 3, of which Joyce has scored 15. Joyce, of course, the Sussex skipper this year, took over, I think, from Michael Yardy.
Yes, I think so.
Chris Wood coming in again now to Kachopa, and that ball is straight through to Wheater, who flicks it to Vince. Vince, who's had a good winter in terms of things that he's done with various sides he's played for, and I guess we're all hoping that maybe over the next, there's something like 14 tests, I believe, to be played, maybe even more than that, over the next 9 to 12 months. And maybe Vince will be given the opportunity. We shall see. So it's going to be, I think, Berg to continue. He's in conversation with Jimmy Adams at the moment. And indeed, it is Berg. 35 for 3. He'll be bowling to Joyce, who's not out 15. All of these, as John has indicated earlier, a moment or two ago, in fact, that Joyce playing inside the ball, withdraws his bat, and he goes straight through to the keeper.
It's difficult, isn't it? There actually looked like he was playing the shot, but I think he was deliberately playing down the wrong line and just sort of practicing a shot.
Yeah, I'd agree with that assessment, John. As Berg turns, comes in, right arm over, past Alex Wharf, the umpire at the pavilion end, dabbed down on the offside by Joyce, and they go through for a single. Picked up by Adams, who throws it to the I guess the Hampshire polisher, who's the Hampshire polisher?
Is it Will Smith?
Oh, it is indeed Will Smith. Yeah, thank you, John. Will Smith, another diminutive in the Wheater scale of height, in terms of Cachopra.
I think he'd be offended by that, Simon, when he's suggesting that he's the similar height to Wheater.
Well, Wheater paid
He
him a few bob to
Positively
mention that.
towers above him.
Berg in, and the shouldering of arms by Cachopra there, and straight through to Wheater behind the stumps, towers above him, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't the towering inferno, John. It's what is he, a half inch taller? No, I'll have a look afterwards.
I reckon he's 2 or 3 inches taller than him.
Not in there. No, our man from Bournemouth has arrived in his shades. And Berg is through, and that's pushed out onto the onside.
One thing Sussex don't have to worry about at the moment, Simon, is what their tactics are.
No.
They just need a decent partnership, don't they?
Consolidation. The order of the day with the skipper. And I guess this young man who's looking to make his way with Sussex, John.
Yes, I think he's ambitious.
Berg turns, comes in with the group trainers on, and that is pushed out on the offside by Cachopra to mid-off, where Hampshire skipper Jimmy Adams, who I think has he has a number 4 on his back, but I think his number in terms of people to play for Hampshire is 406. I don't know why I've got that piece of useless information in my head, but I must have read it somewhere. As Berg comes in, right arm over, past Alex Wolf, the umpire, extra Morgan. And I think John was telling me he played the odd one-day international for England.
Yes, he did. I think it was just one-day stuff. I'm pretty sure he didn't play a test match, but there wasn't very much of it. The other umpire, you said is Evans. He's not Jeff Evans.
No,
is he?
R.
He's R. Evans. And he's obviously new to the panel.
Would we go with Reese as a thought? I don't know.
Don't think so. Doesn't ring a bell.
I don't know if our no. I'm getting a shake of the head over my shoulder. Now then, I've got a question, and there's 3 other commentators anyway. Wait for Woods that come in and bowl. That's pushed back down the track, and mid-on will come to pick that up. I can't remember having read anywhere the result of this court case in terms of the umpires appealing against their retirement age. They lost it. I've been told that they lost it. Well, that's a shame, because I'd have quite liked to have been a victory. Oh my goodness gracious, there, Simon Vincent just left over my right shoulder, and I've seen somebody who looks like Townsend. I'm not sure who the other bloke is on the TV. Or can we get that back there, ladies and gentlemen? You won't be able to see this.
Looks a bit Irish to me,
Gave
Simon.
me a bit of a strange moment there. Simon Vincent, there he comes again. Gosh, there's some great colours on the screen in front of us.
Look at that! Yeah, look at these colours.
Look at the colours. As Woods comes in with his bright orange trainers on, dabbed down on the offside. My word, that is entertaining. Get it off. Ooh, you do look ugly, Mr. Townsend.
Thank you very much.
Oh, there's Simon Vincent. That's actually very good, Simon. Simon Vincent is one of these technical gurus. He's as far to the right of me as you could possibly get. All I can do is switch on the power button and hope that something happens. Well done, Simon.
You've improved then, Simon.
I like it. Chris Woods in again, and that is dabbed down on the offside by Joyce, picked up by Will Smith, who's grown in stature since I last said a few words after admonishment from JT.
Yeah, I'm tempted to tell him you said that, Simon, that he was the same height as Adam Wheater.
Right. They've got to be in the book. Somebody's going to, my quality teacher from Bournemouth Boys School is going to tell me the difference in their height, because that will be in the 2014 edition of Playfair. And there's 3 inches difference So one's at 5'6" and the other's at 5'9". All right, okay, Mr. Towns. This works all around here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Not that there's any competition in this box or room that we're very privileged to be able to occupy here at the Ageas Bowl. As Chris Woods comes in, and that again forces Joyce onto the back foot, but seemed to have plenty of time to play it. Drop down in front of him. The end of, I think that's the 14th. Is it the 14th over? No, it can't be the 14th. It's the 15th over. 15th over. I can't quite pick out the numbers on the screen ahead of me. It would be the 19th. 19th, you see.
If you add the bowlers overs up, they come to 18, Simon.
Yeah, but it was Woods at that end.
Yeah,
so
they haven't
19,
added his on yet, I don't think. So it's 19 gone, isn't it?
I'm relying on the quality teacher from Bournemouth Boys School, who I think has wintered well. Has he wintered well? He's going thumbs up. Is he using an iPad there? Is he? No, he's not using an iPad. Something else. I thought we were following in your footsteps, Tom, there. With iPads are the flavour of the day. Berg to continue from the pavilion end. Goal of good length there, pushed down to the onside into the short mid-wicket area, where it is picked up and flicked in. I think that's Chris Woods is actually at mid-on. Danny Briggs is at mid-wicket. Interesting, Danny Briggs has started a game early on in the season when you wouldn't expect there to be a lot happening for our quality left armour, slow left armour that is, as Berg's in just short of a length, but dropped down in front of him by Chopra.
It may be, Simon, that he wouldn't have played today had Adams or Bird been fit.
I think that's right. John's referring to two Hampshire fast bowlers who unfortunately not able to play, and we were, I have to say, worried about the start that would be made with Tomlinson and Port bowler, with all due respect to him, in terms of Sean Irvine, who is most definitely a man for all seasons. Now, he played and missed at that ball, did Chopra. Obviously got the wrong line, or it did a little bit off the track, and I'm going to go with that. Went through to Wheater at a good height.
I've got to say, Simon, that I'm imagining that Steve McGoffin is sitting in the Sussex changing room at the moment, cursing the fact that he hasn't had first bowl on this today.
Yeah, but it looked the sort of track where you would bat first, didn't it, John? But it's not quite, and it's early days. But this is as good a start as Hampshire could have possibly asked for, as that ball's pushed out to the offside, finds the middle-ish of Kachopa's bat there, and is fielded in the forward point area.
I think McGoffin took the most wickets in the championship last season, did he not?
Did he? Give us a number, John.
No,
60, 70, something like that, I guess. Ooh.
I think it was up near the 70 mark.
Yeah, it was hands on shoulders there in terms of that ball had Kachopa. He's uncomfortable. Had him in a little trouble, discomfort, but he's uncomfortable, is he not, John? Berg is. This is a cracking opening spell by Hampshire's acquisition from Middlesex.
Trouble is, he's got to live up to this now, Simon, hasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he probably surprised to get such a good bowl so early on. Again, down to the injuries that John's described. Do you know if there are long-term, short-term injuries, John, in terms of Andre Adams?
I think what Dave said was that Bird just isn't fit enough to play.
Right.
And Adams, I read in our local paper, got an elbow problem.
Right.
And was hoping to play today, but
Adams
didn't
not a
make
spring chicken anymore. It's a bit like you and me, John.
Well, he's only 39, son. He's not that like you and me.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's not a spring chicken.
That's true.
And you might be an old cockerel, my boy. Dear.
Berg, by the way, has bowled 5 overs, 2 maidens, 2 for 6.
John's reading from the screen in front of him, which has had the pictures of 2 good-looking fellas earlier on. And that ball is from Woods is straight through to Wheater. I need to put my glasses on for that, but that's being adjusted ball by ball, that screen in front of us, is it, John?
No, it hasn't actually, because he's bowled 6 overs according to the scoreboard, so slightly behind.
I think, is it one of those where they update every 2 minutes or something like that? What website is that, John? Because you're into these sort of things.
I think that's Cricket Info.
Cricket Info. Oh, he's played all around that. And big appeal for LBW. Big appeal by Wheater and Co. Wheater, I'm not sure Irvine took his hands out of his pockets because it's cold out there, but certainly Dawson and Vince were up, and Wheater was up big time, as was Chris Woods. But umpire Evans said no. That's an indication of what the ball is doing out there, or maybe that'd be going down the leg side of pad as Woods comes in from the northern end, and that ball is flicked off his legs by Joyce down to Danny Briggs, fine leg, who quickly picks up, returns to Wheater and moves off as they've taken a single to take the score up to 36 for 3 and bringing the right-handed Kachopa down to the pavilion end, and Danny Briggs moves over to fine leg on the other side, over to the western side of the ground. Woods coming in, still bowling left arm over. Shouldering of arms by Kachopa. Appears to be one of his better shots this morning. Ground looks good, John, doesn't it? I know it's first day of the season, but sun's shining.
Yeah, it does, and you can understand why Ed Joyce chose to bat, can't you?
Very much so. The pitch is to the western side of the ground, not quite in the middle, as Woods comes in. Oh, goes a short ball, hooked away, and in between Briggs and Carberry for 4. Bounces back off the advertising signs that placed all around the ground.
First sign of aggression from Kachopa there.
Yeah, the first hook I've seen of the. Oh no, one that we were looking at, but then made no contact. But he certainly he got hold of that, takes him up to 6, and the score to 41 for 3. As Woods is again. Oh, that's nicely driven, nicely driven. That was. I would go so far as to say that was the best shot of the morning. That's gone straight back past the bowler and to Wood, to Adams's right arm, and right back. A lovely shot that was, John. That was class.
Absolutely. Yeah, the scorecard on Cricket Info is 3 balls in arrears at the moment, Simon, because that over from Wood has finished, but it's only got him as 4.5 overs up there. But Kachopa's first 2 runs took 34 minutes. Wow. Which shows how tough it's been out there. And Wood's last over, his 6th over, was a maiden, so he's bowled 6 overs, 2 for 6.
2 for 6. That's good, isn't it? We've got a change of bowling of where I think he's off, and I think it could be Sean Irvine back on. I'm not sure. Well, it is. I'm getting a thumbs up from JT. Sean Irvine, who opened the bowling with James Tomlinson. Sean Irvine, who's been given an extension of his contract, I think, for another couple of years or so.
And whose brother played in the World Cup.
I saw him.
Zimbabwe.
Yeah, Craig Irvine. Yeah, I saw that, and I thought there was a quiz question for you, John, in terms of can you give me 6 pairs of brothers who've played for any country across the world? Afghanistan would be the first one I'd like you to try for.
Well, I'll go for Australians first. That was a lovely shot there by Ed Joyce off his hip there for 4 to deep square leg. Yeah, I'll go for the War brothers.
1.
The Chappell brothers.
2. You staying with Australia, or are you moving on?
I think the Gregory brothers, very early Australians, I think. And the Bannermans, early Australians, so that's 4.
Is Irvine comes in again from the pavilion end, right arm, and that ball is pushed back down the track. Gets
And Hanif and Mushtaq Mohammed.
There
is half a dozen for you.
John Townsend is one of those. If you're looking for anybody to join your quiz, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, John Townsend is the man. But unfortunately, they finished 5th out of 6 in the quiz that took place recently, and Whitechapel remain
White Parish.
White Parish
was,
remain
sorry.
champions. I was doing Jack the Ripper there, wasn't I, for a moment? Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
It's East London, isn't it, Whitechapel?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was a little bit out as opposed to on its way to Salisbury, White Parish. And I think they won it last year as well, didn't they, John?
Either last year or the year before.
Right, they're obviously quiz experts. So 49 for 3. This partnership doing okay as Irvine comes into Joyce, and that's well stopped by Sean Irvine and his follow through. Just this is the 22nd over, and just have a look at my watch in terms of it must be my last over before we hand over to could be Jeff Levick, I'm not sure. No, could be young Pritchard, who's looking pretty sylph-like and charm personified with his shades on. Who's with Martin then?
Jeff.
Oh, it is Jeff. Yeah, I don't want to see. You can't see this, ladies and gentlemen, but we'll wait for this ball from Irvine, because I want Martin to just. Oh, that is struck beautifully by Joyce through the extra cover area. All timing. Didn't need a new bat for that or a modern bat for that. Just stroked it through the extra cover. Takes him up to 25 and the score 53 for 3. Just want young Martin Pritchard to have a look at Jeff Levick's pass and to see if he recognises the person on the pass. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the sort of photograph that if the passport control saw this man coming through Gatwick, Southampton, Luton, Stansted, he would be, hang on, you've got the wrong passport here, sir.
Got to say here, Simon, getting back to the cricket, that Ed Joyce is looking twice as comfortable as any other Sussex player has today.
Ominous is the word I thought you were going to use, John, because he is in control, isn't he? Come on, Irvine, Sean. And Joyce drops that down in front of him. Yeah, he's justifying the toss as I come to the end of this session talking to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. John Townsend is getting up, which will enable one of our friends and colleagues to get in beside me, and then we'll hand over to, I think it's going to be Martin. It is. Martin, well done. You're looking cool, man. You're looking cool. Did you model for that haircut, or did you need a new lawnmower? Always looking distinguished. Hints of grey. Martin, welcome. All yours as Jeff Levick joins my seat.
Thanks, Simon. So, good morning today from Hampshire. But challenge will be now how they get this 4th wicket. 53 for 3 the score. 22 overs gone. Ed Joyce looking very impressive on 25, and Chopra on 10. And there's a change of bowling from the northern end, or the hotel end, which is looking very grand here. Looks like James Tomlinson. Tomlinson comes in short of a length, cuts away through the offside. Nicely fielded there by Michael Carberry. Welcome to Jeff Levick alongside me.
Good morning there, everybody, and thank you very much, Martin. Sorry I don't look like my photograph. Where that shot from Joyce was ominous, I guess I would be anonymous if we were working the other way.
Yeah.
But a lovely day here at the Ageas Bowl. Sun shining, a little bit of a cool breeze.
Tomlinson then comes in again, left arm over, and turns Chopra around a little bit there, playing it to leg, and it squirted out on the offside. So Tomlinson will be pleased with that. Good season for James Tomlinson last year, but he will know, like all bowlers, this is the time of year to get some wickets under your belt whilst the wickets are a little bit juicy. So let's see if Hampshire can get a fourth before lunch as Tomlinson comes in, short of a length, and that's just gone all the way. That's picked up beautifully by Kachopa, and there's two men out on the leg side boundary, but that went right the way over their heads for quite an easy six. Good shot that, Jeff.
It was indeed. I was asking you earlier on what Kachopa's background was. He plays for New Zealand under-19s, I believe you told me, and he looks as if he's playing, having played himself in on what looks to be quite a juicy pitch to start with, now playing some very good swift shots and hitting the ball very hard. Obviously been following a little bit of what Brendan McCallum does.
Yes, looked up a few things on Craig Kachopa, South African born, but just like Grant Elliott, who represents New Zealand, born in South Africa, has represented New Zealand as Tomlinson comes in, and a much fuller ball and dug out by Kachopa onto the leg side. It's fielded, and there's no run. And yes, he plays as well. He's got a Portuguese passport, so as a result of that, that's I imagine that's derivation of his surname, and one that's unfamiliar to myself. It's Tomlinson comes in again. Left arm over the wicket, and this one is a little short of a length, outside the off stump. Kachopa allows it to go. Ball slightly dies a little bit before it gets to Adam Winter, and there's no run. So Kachopa, yes, he's allowed to play as on that European passport, but if he's selected for New Zealand at a higher level than under-19, he may have to change his status. But just for now, he's playing very well. And again, Tomlinson slightly turns him round, played that one back up the wicket, but slightly with a cross bat. And that's the end of the over, end of the 23rd over. So the score now has moved up to 59 for 3. Kachopa, with that 6 in that over, has moved on nicely to 16. And Ed Joyce looking very comfortable on 25.
So just had John Townsend pass me information that apparently there seems to be quite a lot of movement between South Africa and New Zealand. Apparently Watling and Wagner, or is it Wagner? I don't know.
Yeah, they call yes, it's Wagner, the New Zealand bowler. So yes, New Zealand certainly not afraid to use various sort of legislation, residency, etc., to get people qualified. As Sean Irving comes in and bowls, and slightly slower ball there onto the off stump of Ed Joyce, plays that one out.
And of course, we do have New Zealand coming here in June to play a one-day international at the Ageas Bowl, for which I believe the booking is going extremely well.
Well, it certainly worked out well for Hampshire this season, with the two teams that are playing here contesting the final, as Irving comes in again and bowls, and again full length. So watchfully placed onto the offside by Ed Joyce. So there's no run. Michael Carberry hits the ball via Will Smith, who fielded. And a little bit of shining going on. So just over an hour and a half, and as often at this time of the year, there's a few early wickets to fall. In April, with a new ball, Sean Irving, who took the new ball, bowls, and again a very full of a length, dug out by Ed Joyce on the offside, fielded there by Michael Carberry, and there's no run.
Yes, it is really looking absolutely gorgeous here at the Ageas Bowl. We're looking out over the very nearly complete Hilton Hotel at the northern end, which we believe is opening on the 1st of May to a big fanfare, and maybe an area that we'll be able to see a little bit more from behind the bowler's arm, what actually is happening.
as Irving comes in, and short of a length, but must have got a bottom edge there. I was looking towards the boundary for the shot that Joyce was playing. Must have got an under edge or something, because it squirted out just behind the batsman, fielded by Adam Wheater. So victory to the bowler there. Just got one through. That could easily have been played on. So Sean Irving giving very little away here. And often open the bowling as he comes in again. And again, that's played slightly down left there, probably, I think would be fair to say, by Ed Joyce. That's gone through to wicketkeeper Adam Wheater. So I think Joyce, the captain, 36 years of age, he will know, with as one of the top scorers in this division last year, that he's got to hang around. And now that they've seen off this new ball, as Irving comes in again and slightly leg side, slightly short of a length, plays it to leg, but doesn't get behind that one. And good over there by Sean Irving. That was a maiden. And at the end of the 25th over, that means that Hampshire have Sussex at 59 for 3.
Yes, and Joyce, of course, is in extremely good form in the World Cup for Ireland. Another Irishman who played for a while for England, and another left-handed back, exactly like Owen Morgan. But he certainly played extremely well, scored a lot of runs for Ireland, and looks as if he's benefited from that time away, and looks in extremely good form. I think of all the batsmen we've seen today, looking the most in form and the most fluent of all the players.
James Tomlinson then to continue from the northern end, comes in left arm over, and again that one allowed to go to the wicketkeeper by Kachopa, shoulders his arms, allows it to go through to Wheater. I think Sussex won't be too worried by the scoreboard at the moment, but they won't want wickets to go up beyond the 3 that they are now, and they'll fancy that with some attacking middle order players they can still salvage a good score. And this next one, dug out again, fuller length by Tomlinson, and Kachopa got his bat down, quite a bit of bat on it in the end, but decent delivery there by Tomlinson, just putting the batsman under a little bit of pressure. So James Tomlinson, who will have to lead the attack with the absence of Jackson Bird for this match, and hopefully not too anymore. But Tomlinson comes in, and again slightly wide of the mark, and Kachopa allows that one to go through to Wheater, and there's no run. Good looking crowd for second week of April, and enjoying a little bit of county cricket during the Easter holidays. As Tomlinson back to his mark, not a big run up these days, as Tomlinson comes in, and that's short of a length, and that's played beautifully to the leg side. The man out there who didn't have to move more than 10 metres or so, and had no chance. Short delivery, probably got the treatment it deserved, but well played by Kachopa. Very aggressive batsman. See his play, he's got over 2,000 runs, and he's averaging around about 50 in first-class cricket. And he's got a double 100 to his name, so he's a very promising young player. And this next one, again, much fuller by Tomlinson, up to the bat. Kachopa plays it onto the leg side. It's fielded there by James Vince. It's no run. 2 slips here for James Tomlinson. Vince, who's been in the slips when there's been 3 slips, but just Dawson and Irving at the moment, and mid-wicket is where James Vince is. And this next one from Tomlinson, nice delivery, straight play down the wicket by Kachopa. There's no run. He's given his jumper by the umpire, and 4 runs from that over. Just that one short ball that was well played by Kachopa, and the score has gone on to 63 for 3.
It's very interesting to watch Kachopa. He seems a little bit porky, I think is one word to use, the way he plays the ball when he's defending. He tends to throw his right leg across the offside and get himself a little bit squared up. But if the ball is full, he drives it very hard and very well, and if it's short, he pulls it extremely well. And interestingly, he's moved on to 20 and been catching Joyce up, who's been in quite a lot longer and faced a lot more balls, as Irvin comes in again from the pavilion end to bowl to Joyce.
And that first delivery from Irvin, again, he's bowling a good line here, and Joyce allows that one to go. Got about 17 minutes to lunch, so Sussex will want to go in no more than 3 wickets down, and they will feel it in the afternoon with the current pairing. Plus, of course, Luke White, who got 100 on this ground his last visit, as Irvin bowls and slightly onto the leg side, and played nicely by Joyce. Fielded by Danny Briggs. Haven't seen Danny Briggs yet, but no doubt this afternoon we'll see him get a decent spell, and good to see Danny Briggs in the team. This time last year wasn't getting a lot of first-class cricket. Irvin then back to his mark, comes in, bowls, and played out on the offside by Joyce, who seems to have gone into his shell a little bit last few minutes. Been on 25 for some time now. So, yeah, Danny Briggs, in fact, just as I was speaking, seems to be going through his bowling action. Might, as seems to often happen, get an over, maybe a couple before lunch, as Irvin comes in. And again, that is left by Ed Joyce, and gets through at fairly easy pace to Adam Wheater. Sean Irvin, who's had a number of injury problems over the years. Last season seemed to have slightly less of them, and a fair bowling stint for Hampshire, and a good supporting bowler, but surprised to see him open today. But as he comes in, again, good, accurate, outside the off stump, but Joyce allowing that one to go through for no run.
So I was talking to Kevin James just before I came on air, and he was saying he can't remember Sean Irvin opening the bowling ever for Hampshire. So very interesting. I think obviously with Andre Adams and Jackson Bird not being available through injury, Sean Irvin's having to turn his hand into being almost everything for the team, which he's done remarkably well over the years.
Next delivery then, dug out by Ed Joyce, and that's the end of another maiden. It's a couple of maidens on the trot from Sean Irvin, and that is 63 for 3 remains the score, 26 overs bowled, so it's fairly pedestrian by Sussex. We've seen a few good shots, but I think at the moment, if it's not on the stumps, they're prepared to leave those deliveries.
Now we have seen Danny Briggs coming on to bowl, getting, I think, a little bit more than his obligatory 1 over before lunch. Be interesting to see whether there is any spin in this pitch. It certainly looked from Gareth Berg as if there was some movement off the pitch, and maybe it from his end just slightly variable bounce, with 1 or 2 keeping just a fraction low. And it will be very interesting to see what sort of form Briggs is in this year. He must be hoping that this is going to be a turning year for him, turning point in his career, and get back into England reckoning. He seemed not to have any spinners around, and it would be great if Danny Briggs could come back and start getting himself a lot of wickets and putting himself back into contention to get into that England side again.
So Danny Briggs comes into bowl with a slip and a leg slip. And yes, I shall hope there's a little bit of spin in this for Danny Briggs. And this first delivery, Kachopa comes right down the wicket, kills any spin that there may be. Hampshire, of course, with Liam Dawson and Will Smith in their team, and probably have to use a number of bowlers in this match. And this next one is turned around the corner by Kachopa. Uses his feet well. Just tries to manipulate the ball, maybe pinch a single, but fielder there is very quickly to the ball and there's no one, and breaks quickly back to his mark and bowls, and that's outside the off stump. Thought that had gone a little bit further, and it just squirms out to Will Smith on the offside. So breaks quickly back to his mark. Good action. And again, full ball, and Kachopa is right down on that one, plays that out. Rita comes from behind stumps, and that's fielded, and straight back to breaks, getting through these overs quickly. And again, full ball, played out by Kachopa. No one. 27th over, so good bowling rate here by Hampshire. They get to 30 at least. And this next one, again, Kachopa, as Jeff was describing, sometimes seems to hit the ball slightly away from the centre and slightly leading edge, plays it down the wicket. But that's the end of a good, promising first over by Danny Briggs. Maiden over stays at 63 for 3.
Yes, a very good start from Briggs. Looked to be very much on the right line, but probably just pushing the ball through quite quickly, and not really looking to get any spin. But as a first over from the spinner, I guess you don't want to be hit around the park. You want to make sure that things are kept tight and running well from that end. And we now are back with Sean Irvine bowling his medium pace from the pavilion end.
So Sean Irvine then comes into Joyce. His batsmen don't seem to have moved much from their relative ends at the moment. Joyce seems to be playing Sean Irvine to lunch, and that one is played on the leg side. And there's no run. So Joyce on 25, and he's been on 25 since I started, and a little bit before, so only 20-25 minutes on this score, as and he won't be moving off it on the next delivery. Full ball by Irvine, played out nicely by Joyce. As we were saying, Ed Joyce entertained a lot of us doing what was a disappointing World Cup for English supporters, but I think watching the Irish games were certainly a lift, and Ed Joyce and many others really entertained us with some good one-day cricket. It's a different format now, and Joyce having to dig in, use all of his 36 years experience, and so 216 first-class games for Ed Joyce. Highest score of 211. He averages 48, which is not a bad average in county cricket. As Irvine comes in again and bowls, and again arm-shouldered by Ed Joyce, and ball goes through to Adam Wheater. There's no score. This scoreboard seems to be healing up at 63 for 3 at the moment, but Sussex are an experienced First Division team. Finished second last year, and they will know that it's all about digging in at 4-day games. Even if you're 3 down early on, you can suddenly be back in the game. And Irvine's next delivery allowed to again go through to the wicketkeeper. So 22 for 3 was the score when the third wicket went down. So these two 41 runs put on. So just really what Sussex needed. And as I was saying, not unexpected for this time of the year. Often the scores are a little bit lower, and good time to get some victories under team's belt in April, as Irvine comes in and bowls. And again, Joyce is well behind that. And another Sean Irvine maiden. So that's a third maiden on the trot, I think, for Sean Irvine. And he's got 7 overs. Well, we're an over behind. At the start of this over, he had 7 overs, 4 maidens, 0 for 14. So by my maths, he must have 8 overs, 5 maidens, no wicket for 14. So very economical by Sean Irvine.
It's very, very interesting, Martin. I think early season, the batsmen and all the players are playing themselves in. And I think from our point of view, to have as much inactivity as the number of maidens on the top, almost time for the commentators to play themselves in as well and describe another ball which from Denny Briggs pitched up to the bat, pushed back by Kachopa with no run score.
And Briggs back to his mark quickly. So run of maidens here at the moment. And again, full ball. Kachopa watchfully plays it down the wicket. About 7 minutes to lunch. Briggs bowling there. Get at least Briggs will get at least 2 more here. And another delivery has passed as correctly played by Kachopa. 20 not out, Joyce 25, and attempt an aggressive stroke, marginally wide of the off stump. Kachopa tries to cut it away. It's a little bit of a bottom edge on it. Played into the ground, and umpire Evans tells him there's 1 to come. And Briggs comes around the wicket. Actually, there's more than 1 to come. He was giving him his mark. Umpire Russell Evans, new to the umpires list. And this next one by Briggs, it bowls a little bit shorter, tries to tempt Kachopa as to play a shot as he did earlier in the affair. And that's the end of the over. That's Briggs' 2nd over, his 2nd maiden, and the score stays at 63 for 3.
Just wondering, Martin, with Russell Evans and Worf umpiring, and with yourself, is it a Welsh takeover with all these Welshmen around?
I'm not sure of Russell Evans. I've got to be honest. I looked him up. He was on the reserve list last year, and as we haven't got the new Playfair, I've got no information on him. I can't remember Russell Evans playing first-class cricket, so I assume he may be similar to Jeff Evans, who came through the sort of local ranks. So we will have to see. I'll try and do a little bit of research on that. Sean Irvine then continues from the pavilion end, comes in and bowls and short, and the scoreboard will move by a couple, as that's a man on the fence fields the ball, and nice throw in to Adam Wheater, and that will be 2 runs. So Ed Joyce, who was on 25 for seemingly an age, decided that that very short ball by Sean Irvine deserved to be hit. Be disappointed that he didn't get it to the boundary, and he's got 2 runs as Irvine bowls, and again Joyce goes into watchful mode, and it's allowed to go to Wheater behind the stumps. So the score's on 65, Joyce on 27, Kachopa on 20. Good start by Hampshire this morning. Gareth Berg getting a wicket with his first ball for Hampshire, and also getting a wicket with the first ball of his next over. And he's got figures of 2 for 6 at the moment. Irvine, very economical, comes in, bowls, and tries to play that to the slightly to the leg side at Joyce, but it's fielded by the man at mid-on. So there's no run. So yeah, Sean Irvine has bowled 8 overs, I say 0 for 14, so very economical. Opened the bowling with James Tomlinson. James Tomlinson got the other wicket to fall this morning. He got Luke Wells for 0. Clean bowled. Irvine comes in and again allowed to go through to Wheater. The other wickets to go this morning. Gareth Berg was the man who Gareth Berg got the other opener Chris Nash out, clean bowled for 11, and that was quickly followed by the former skipper Michael Yardy, who in Berg's second over was caught behind by Adam Wheater for 6. But since then, we've got a very good partnership developing. 43 at the moment, as Irvin comes and bowls, and again allowed to go through to the wicketkeeper. There's no run there, and Irvin looks slightly suspiciously at his run-up. There.
I don't think Sean Irvin was expected to do quite as much work on the first morning of a match, but he's now in his 9th over and has bowled very tidily and has been part of a very good morning for Hampshire and for the game, basically, which has been a good start to a season with the bat not dominating entirely. 3 wickets going down, but now the bat beginning to get some control on the match, as that last ball of the over is hit out to Danny Briggs on the square leg boundary by Joyce, and they take a single, which moves the score on to 66 for 3.
Yes, it allows the batsmen to swap ends. They've seemed to be stuck at their relative ends for quite some time now, but with that single, that brings Joyce back on the strike to face Danny Briggs. And this might well be the last over, getting close to 1 o'clock. And I think even with Danny Briggs getting through this one quite quickly, there's a few field changes. So I think both teams will be fairly happy. 30 bowled already. Of course, I reckon you should get 32 in a session. Rarely achieved to finish at 6 o'clock. As Briggs comes, bowls, and Joyce comes down the wicket. Not quite sure whether it went exactly where he meant. 2 men go to field, and it's Chris Wood who throws the ball back. So 2 runs there.
Was that James Tomlinson looking very sprightly in the
Yes,
field
I think
there,
yes.
and diving and sliding and
I
goodness
did-
knows what else?
I didn't recognise who that was under the sun hat there. Yes, indeed it is Tomlinson, helped by his fellow quick bowler Chris Wood to stop the boundary there. And Danny Briggs's next delivery, watchfully played out by Joyce. The man fielding close on the leg side, hoping for a catch. And it's on the leg side, but doesn't squirt up to, I think that's Will Smith fielding close in. So no run. So Briggs first runs off Danny Briggs, 2 overs, 2 maidens before this one. And as he comes in and bowls, and again, slightly on the leg side, or Joyce maybe going inside that ball, he comfortably plays that one out. Beautiful day here at the Ageas Bowl. And crowd building up nicely, and no doubt it will increase in the afternoon. And this next delivery and by Joyce goes to play an aggressive shot, didn't get there, and Briggs won't be upset by that. Could easily have just hold out to mid-off or mid-on there, as this next delivery by Briggs again played down the wicket by Joyce, and interesting to see if we do get an over in.
I think I saw Dawson at the end of the
Yes.
previous over, just doing a little bit of stretching, and yes, he's going on to bowl and squeeze in this last over to get up to the 32.
Yes.
They rarely achieved marking, but looks like we'll be there.
Yeah, so Liam Dawson, and I think with Hampshire probably a full-time bowler down today, having to open with Sean Irvin. They're all-rounders who would often not bowl too many overs in county games. Irvin, Dawson, etc. I think we might just see a few more overs from them. So just having a look at Liam Dawson before lunch. No doubt Gareth Berg, who got the 2 wickets earlier on, he will, I would have thought, be given first opportunity after lunch. And Liam Dawson, a left arm bowler, slightly unorthodox action. He comes in and he bowls, and good delivery there. Played out nicely by Kachopa.
Just watching Ed Joyce there, I don't think he's looking to take any quick singles. He's going by the boycott method of the last over before lunch. The best place to be is at non-striker's end.
So Dawson then comes in, bowls, and pitched up nicely to the bat, and Kachopa happy to play that one out. Again, just as Ed Joyce seemed to be stuck on 25 for a long time, Kachopa's quite content on 20. He's played a few good shots, one big 6. Dawson then trying to tempt him, bowls it up, a little bit of flight there outside the off stump, but Kachopa showing a lot of maturity there and allowing that one to go through to Wheater. Sussex will feel getting close, 45, 46 these two have put on now. And this next delivery by Dawson, slightly leg side, possibly spins back a little bit at Kachopa, and played out onto the leg side. No run. He's got a slip, Liam Dawson. Man feeling close on the leg side, bat pad. And this next one, played out, bowl onto the off stump, flighted nicely. And there's no run. And Dawson, who came into the team as a 17, 18-year-old, mainly as a bowler, he's been persuaded to bowl a little bit more. He did fancy himself just as a batsman, but a useful addition to the Hampshire bowling.
And that's the last ball of the pre-lunch session, with Sussex on 68 for 3. And a maiden over from Liam Dawson, and a very enjoyable and satisfactory morning for Hampshire. And I would have thought Sussex taking something from it as well, having put on very nearly 50 runs for the 4th wicket, having lost those early wickets, which I suspect came about from a little bit of juice in the pitch on the first morning of the match. But all in all, I think a very enjoyable morning's cricket to have watched and seen as the first morning of the season. And let's hope we can have a season which has glorious sunshine and blue skies as we're seeing at the Ageas Bowl today. Things can only get better.
So, here at the Ageas Bowl on this beautiful day, early April, following on from the good weather that we've all had the last week or so, continuing, and the forecast is looking very positive for the 4 days. So it looks as though there's a good chance of a result for this. Good start by Hampshire. 22 for 3 with Sussex, but Sussex will be happy to have got this one back. And at lunch with Kachopa on 20 and Ed Joyce on 30, the news is that Sussex are 68 for 3, and we will be back at around about 140.